Everyone is talking about the DMCAs, but Mel Sheikh on Twitter actually dug through the source code and found that Claude Code isn't just a terminal wrapper. I mean, it is, but let's just roll with it. It's a massive multi-agent orchestration platform. Here are 5 actual workflow features hidden in the code base that will change how you wipe code right now. Plus a few unreleased features that Anthropic is hiding at the end of this video. The first point that we're going to talk about is how ClaudeMD is loaded every single turn. Like every single turn. Now this is one of the most important things that was discovered when he dug through the code base. What the source code shows is that Claude Code loads this file every single turn, not at the beginning of the conversation, not during after a few iterations, every single time you write a prompt into it. With the system prompt, it also has the ClaudeMD file that is sent to the servers to get the output back. It follows the hierarchy that is present in the Claude documentation, that there will be a ClaudeMD file at the root of the app and then more ClaudeMD files on different subdirectories of that particular app. And the biggest takeaway here is that you get 40,000 characters. That is a lot. I personally only use a few hundred characters. But the fact that you can put 40,000 characters without actually losing any major performance issues is crazy. The second one is even crazier than the first one. And it is about subagents. So whenever subagents are spawned, it makes a copy of the original context from the main agent for every subagent that there is at zero extra cost. This is absolutely crazy. You are basically running multiple agents for the cost of one. So what this basically means is if you're implementing something linearly one after the other, it's just dumb. You should be using sub-agents where the main context is shared between those agents without any extra cost. You can literally spawn multiple agents, one doing the security, one doing the code reviews, one doing anything else that you want, and it is going to cost the same as using just one agent linearly. And the next point that Mel points out is that the permission system is designed to be configured, not clicked through. So basically what this means is every time you're clicking yes or no whenever Claude asks for a permission, you're just wasting time, because all of this has to be configured so that the agent automatically has the permissions that it needs. You as a user shouldn't be typing yes every time that it prompts you. There are 3 permission modes in the source code. The first one is bypass, which has no permission checks at all. It is a little bit dangerous, but it just goes through everything in one shot, which makes sense for projects that you're not too worried about exploring your machine, but it is definitely fast. But yeah, it is dangerous. And the second is allow edits, which basically I should probably put this in my config as well, because every time Claude says that it wants to edit something, I always do yes allow edits in this session. I have never said no, I want to approve every edit manually, because it's just a waste of time. And another one which is new is auto, which runs a classification by the LLM on every turn. Basically, this is the sweet spot so that it understands what permission it can actually bypass or not. The fourth point isn't actually all that new, but the more you know. There are 5 compaction strategies in Claude Code. The first one is just micro compact, time-based, compacting of the old stuff that is not actively being used right now. The next one is context collapse, which summarizes the entire conversation. Next is the session memory, which sort of exports the context into a separate file. And then there is full compact, which compacts the entire history. And the next is PTL truncation, which just basically removes the older messages for the sake of the new ones. The main takeaway here is that you should proactively using /compact instead of waiting for the model to actually compact it. And it is obviously better to resume a session than to start a new session every time, because it has a session memory which has all the details that you need, so you won't have to explain everything again and again. Another thing to keep in mind is that large tool uses, the outputs of large tool uses are stored on your computer, and only around 8 kilobytes is actually sent to the servers. So if you paste a massive file or a huge amount of context, the model is actually only seeing a fraction of it. The next point that we're going to talk about is the hook system in Claude Code, which basically allows you to do something on some event in the lifecycle of the loop that you're in. There are 25 lifecycle methods in the code base. We are only going to be talking about 2. I think those are pretty useful. One is pre-tool use and the second is post-tool use. The pre-tool use runs before any tool executes and the post-tool use runs after any tool executes. And some crazy good use cases for this hooks API is auto-running the linting before making any edits. Another good one is running tests every time the Claude agent writes something to the file. You can also keep updating the documentation by just running a tool use. Like after the tool does something, you can ask it to update the documentation as soon as it is done with that. Other things like quality of life improvements are sending notifications to Slack, WhatsApp, Telegram, or maybe just pinging the terminal to make a chime sound every time the Claude code is done with a particular task. Now, before we move on to the hidden features, I would like to explore how the Claude Code REPL system actually works. REPL system actually works. So this is a website called CC Unpacked, built by a French developer called Zach Autocracy. I absolutely love this username. Now Zach is a software engineer who enjoys coding. Interesting. Anyway, now going to the dashboard. Now, the first thing that happens when you type a message into Claude Code's input is that it takes the input. The second thing that happens is it creates a user message, wraps the text into Anthropic's message format, which looks something like this. Then the message gets pushed into the in-memory conversation array, sort of like this. The code for every step is written right here. Now, I don't want to get into the code right now. So we have this function which logs the entry to the history entry. Let's not get into the code right now. Well, you can explore it on your own, obviously, because the code has been leaked. Moving next, once it has appended the message into the history, we go to the system prompt. It takes in the ClaudeMD file, all the tools used, memory and the context, and creates a system prompt that is appended with your history, and then it calls the Claude API. And then the Claude API returns the answer to that. Then the Claude code base parses the tokens as they arrive. That is why you can see the streaming stuff. And then it renders like this. I'll research for to-do commands in SRC. Then it uses the tools that are required for it. For example, it uses find tool by name and if it can use the tool, it actually executes the tool. Then it loops back to the API with whatever the output the tool step gave it. It loops back to the API, and then this whole thing happens again and again until the token has enough data, enough results to show the user exactly what it wants to show. Then it actually renders the entire results, and then it calls the hooks that we just talked about as the last point in our listicle that we were going on about before. And then it awaits until you prompt it again, and then it starts back again into the input. You should definitely check this website out. It is amazing, and definitely give Zach a follow. Next up, coming to the hidden features. Now, before that, there are a lot of things on this website itself, like the architecture of the whole thing, like the utilities, the components, the commands, the tools, the services, hooks. I don't know what Ink is. Ink is the framework extension React rendering in terminal via Yoga Flexbox. Okay, so Ink is the rendering package that they use to render everything that you see on the beautiful Claude interface. The tools, it has 40 plus tools, and this is a great way to visualize that. You can definitely check that out. Let's just skip the commands, and coming to the hidden features. The first one is Buddy, which is actually live as of today, as of actually yesterday. It is 2nd of April today, and it was 1st of April yesterday. So if I open up my terminal and then launch, let me just increase the font size a little bit, and then just launch Claude, we can actually see the Buddy. I have a cat here named Pebblewiz. So yeah, that's everything about the Buddy. Next is Ultra Plan, a very long planning session that you can use to plan like very long complex projects. And it has up to a 30-minute execution time, which is kind of crazy. This is the type of thing that you will actually use the hooks that we talked about earlier in the video for. Next is Bridge, which I think is part of the Claude Dispatch, which you can, I'm not sure, but it could be a part of the Claude Dispatch thing, which allows you to use used Claude code from your phone or a browser. It is a full remote session with remote approval and stuff like that. Next is Kairos, which is a persistent mode with memory consolidation between sessions and autonomous background actions. I have absolutely no idea what this means. I'll have to look into it, but yeah, that you have it. Okay, so if I click on it, I can see between sessions and can act proactively in the background using a sleep tool. Interesting. The proactive scheduling implementation was stripped from the public sources. Okay, so it is no longer available publicly. Next is the coordinator mode, which has a lead agent that breaks tasks apart and spawns parallel workers in isolated Git work trees and then collects the results. This is something that you should definitely be using because of the point that we were talking about earlier, that using multiple agents is basically the same as using one agent because the cost is the exact same. The sub agents are using the same context cache as the main agent. Next is the daemon mode, which runs the session in the background. A lot of CLI tools has a daemon mode. I don't know what is the use of this. Maybe running this very long ultra plan session in the background and then calling a hook when it is complete, and then you actually get it out of the background and see it using Claude -- resume. I'm not sure. And that's it, folks. Thanks for tuning in.